My family have always laughed at me and said, Dad, you've always lived 20 years ahead, because I like to prepare my own heart. And I'm living 6 months, a year now ahead if I'm old. Love is the most marvelous thing to have in your life.
As far as the point is concerned, there's no end goal. Basically, you're going to die, and that's that. It doesn't matter how much I practice the piano, I'm not going to be able to practice it when I'm dead. But that's quite a nice thing, it's quite a freeing thing, because we're not all thinking, oh my God, have I missed the point? I don't think that anymore. I don't think, have I missed the point? I'm pretty sure there isn't one to get.
Well, I notice a lot that in my thinking, I usually think I have a great significance because oftentimes the world kind of turns around me. But in more clear moments, I mean, you just see yourself as part of a kind of web of lots of different relations. But being just part of something that's huge, billions of people on the planet, I mean, it doesn't make you small.
We're all on a long journey, and I think we all want to find an answer, and I don't think it has to be here on Earth. There's a reason why we have a universe.
I know this sounds daft, but I wonder whether we're actually here, and I think that you're here now interviewing me, but are you really here interviewing me? Like, it just seems incredible in my mind that out of all those billions and trillions of stars, you know, we're the only thing out there that's living, and we drive around in cars and fly around the Earth in planes. That really does make me think that we are something special. We've got to be.
So I do question why are we here? What's it for? You know, it can't just be for nothing. But what the reason is, I haven't the faintest idea.
Life on Earth.
I think we're just here. I don't ever think about why we're here. You know, the Earth's evolved, we've evolved. What happens in the future, I really don't know. I should be well under the ground by then anyway, so I'm not really worried about it.
I like thinking of the universe. I like science fiction. Maybe there's different sorts of life out there.
Does a colony of ants think that they're the only things in the solar system? I don't know. It's a very, very strange thing. If you look at a TV programme of a city with speeded up film, it does look very much like if someone put a stick in an ant's nest and wiggled it about. And I wonder whether perhaps that's what we all are.
Rush hour comes along, you get on the tube and you queue up, down the escalators and up the stairs.
We've tied ourselves to money, running around. We're living restrained.
You stop to think about what you're thinking about, and you realize you're thinking about yourself most of the time. No matter what it is, it's about whether I like something or don't like it, whether I want it or don't want it. And so if you then stop thinking about, okay, well, what's going to happen when this me is gone, it can be very painful, sure.
I mean, one of the things that I dread, I would say, one of us going and being selfish, I want to go first. I really don't know how I can run this place without her. It isn't running this place, it's just life.
Having been knocked off my bike 3 times in about 18 months, I realised that the line between life and death is very, very thin.
I used to worry about it a lot, especially when I was very young. It hit me once, and I spent lots of nights just worrying about it.
Sometimes when I'm in bed, lights go out, I mean, I'm thinking what's going on, what will happen when I sleep, when I wake up.
I think I just worried myself to a standstill. I couldn't think about it anymore.
Death is probably life's biggest adventure, because nobody really knows what's on the other side, if there is another side.
If there's nothing there, then there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I believe there's a future. I believe in what it says in the Bible, a new heaven and a new earth.
Maybe it will be a life where it is a big garden, like living in Africa, living in an open space. I don't have to worry about wearing all of my clothes, not having to worry about material things. Feel free.
My father and mother had that hope, and I have that hope in me.
I don't know, I think it's incredibly dangerous to start thinking along those lines because it's almost an excuse to not really put your all into now. Basically, you've just wasted your life based on the fact that it's going to go somewhere else afterwards.
I really am envious of people that really do believe. My grandmother, my mother's mother, she was very religious, and just before she died, she held her hands out, and my mum thought she wanted something. And she said, "Oh, do you want something, Mum?" She said, "No." She said, "The angels have come to get me." And she just died there and then.
Simple, profound, everything my guts. I tell you what still makes me moved emotionally is my grandson playing football, just dropping dead. Sad.
This is a wood image of the Buddha, but within that are some of my father's ashes, and he died about a month ago. I put them in my living room, and it's there to remind me about about the impermanence of life. My father was called Brian, and I'm the second.
I don't necessarily believe in heaven, but it's a strange thing because I take the dog for a walk in the mornings and I talk to my mum and dad because I think they're on the Isle of Wight, which is the place they loved when they were alive. If I think there's nothing there, what am I doing? Am I talking to myself? Which I probably am.
Sometimes I feel like I want to live forever. My father and my mother brought me here. I've got my kids, and hopefully leaving something of me with them will make me live on in that sense.
I think basically life is full of new beginnings.
I mean, just think of it like a wave, you know. A wave travels a long way. It kind of crashes on the shore, but it doesn't just disappear, right? It turns into sound, it turns into vibrations, it does all sorts of things. And I suppose that's the way I would think about the end of our lives. It dissipates into something else.
Bits of us carry on with our genetics or whatever. Your being will be spread around a little bit.
If I'm buried in the ground and there might be a nice turnip or something that kind of gets a bit of nutrient from me, right?
One thing that cheers me up is to go and walk down by the river. I'm usually the only person, or there's a few solitary people walking around. If it's a bit misty, that's even better. I kind of feel like, almost like the pull of Dickens. It's like being drawn back into that world again.
I do feel quite good if I'm down the towpath and the trees and so on. That's, yeah, I feel more at one with the countryside, yeah.
You can really feel it when it's all empty and all the flashy lights and everything are off. And you just feel like the way people have always felt about things.
Oh, my dear, the camellias have started. I picked some pink ones for June. They've come out. So there's a joy.
I don't know that I get a sense of reassurance when I look around the world so much maybe as a sense of reality. I've got some flowers out back, some pink roses that are just blooming, and some of them are coming up and they look quite full and nice, and some next to them are dying and they're withering away. And that's just it, isn't it? But there's a solace in that. But it's not it's not an escape.
I mean, it gives a reason for life to be special, doesn't it? Because life is very short. We're all going to die. If it just carried on forever, it would be diluted. It would be it'd have less meaning.
Basically, it's still the love of friends. It's the love that's between us, that we've shared a lot. Do you share your love?
My life still informs other people's, but I'm not worried what's going to happen 500 years from now. Who remembers the people who lived 200 years ago? You can remember the queens or kings or whoever, but usually those are just fantasy stories anyway. A name on a plaque or something is not... I'm not too worried about it, because that's going to be gone one day too.
Just being kind to one another, kind and considerate, and not doing anybody any harm is what my philosophy is, or my religion, if you like.
I don't think there's really a right and a wrong way, except the cheesy cliche of not living life as yourself.
But on the other hand, I think probably, if you did go to hell, you'd probably meet a lot more interesting people there.
I don't know, this is kind of contentious, but maybe being yourself is a serial killer. And in one sense, if that's what you are, then that's kind of what you've got to do. Which is a bit messed up, because that means some other people have to be murdered, but I don't know. In the end, it doesn't really matter, does it?
There's no question, of course, we go. And one of us will go, I shall go. But it's been wonderful while it's lasted.
Well, that's a strange thing. I often think about what the dog's approach to life is. They've got to be thinking. They don't just sit there blank minds, surely, and are they thinking, God, it's cold this afternoon, or... But as for Darcy, I think that he doesn't understand life or death, I wouldn't have thought, but then I don't know. Perhaps he's thinking that we don't. And this is where I get back to the ants. You know, is someone looking down at us as if we're like an ant's nest? I don't know, in the bigger scheme of things. And that is vast.